So I've been Star Warsing,
Yes.
and I'm looking at ways we can do this. Now, you all know, because you'll have heard me preach in the past, about how I want Fantasy Flight to go all in on this.
Yes.
And to recreate every vehicle that they possibly can.
Yes.
There clearly will be vehicles that will take longer to come through the pipeline than others. Okay?
Yeah. Star Destroyer might take a little bit longer.
And a Death Star. Death Star might take a little while as well.
Yeah.
So I thought I'm going to start having a look at what can we buy in to use on the tabletop. And I wanted to try and get some non-obvious stuff in.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with the obvious. I'm going to start with the Millennium Falcon it's kind of top of my list. Okay. Yeah. Because what I want is whenever we do our gaming tables and our live streams and everything else, you would like one iconic object or something on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a shape that is utterly Star Wars, is utterly iconic, and you're just going to go and look at it and go, I know what that is.
Yeah.
So
you say iconic. Do you know? I don't know how true this is, but apparently the shape of the Millennium Falcon, that's inspired by a hamburger and an olive.
It was a bite out of a hamburger. The Millennium Falcon has a really interesting history.
Okay.
The Millennium Falcon was initially a long, thin ship, right up until about 2 weeks before shooting. Okay, because it was all designed in the States. Okay, and they designed this up, and the only thing that the Millennium Falcon then and the Millennium Falcon now has in common was the World War II bomber cockpit kind of aspect. Yeah. So it was a long shape.
Yeah.
And they then shipped everything in over to the UK because they were going to do all of the production and stuff in Pinewood Studios. Okay. And when they got there, George Lucas saw an episode of Space 1999 on the TV and realized that the Millennium Falcon was exactly the same as the Eagle.
Oh, there's a problem.
It was almost identical to the Eagle that were in Space 1999. So he reached out to the design team and said, "Look, we're going to have to change this." Okay, so apparently somebody took a bite out of a burger and looked at the shape of it. I don't know how true that is or not. But what seems more obvious to me is if you can't make it long and thin, make something a disc and try that. So anyway, they recreated the Millennium Falcon, and the interesting thing about the name, okay, is if you take the Eagle from Space 1999, 1999 plus 1 is Millennium, and Eagle, Falcon, so you get the Millennium Falcon. Isn't that interesting?
It's kind of cool. It's kind of like they flipped them the bird.
Maybe more a homage.
I think it was more of a homage. Yeah, I don't know.
I think he was trying to make a pun.
So it was.
I did make a pun.
It was a very good pun, Justin. There's a salute tap for you there already. You're doing a great job.
Oh, no, sweaty right now. Your hands not like clammy right now.
It's
oh, don't do that.
So
should we go?
The Millennium Falcon is for me. This is the moment where. When I was a kid, I got Star Wars stuff. Yeah, I loved it. It's the only memorable toy range for me, and I've talked at great length about it. But the Millennium Falcon was always elusive because I never actually owned one as a child.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a friend who had one, and I was so jealous.
Oh God. Yeah. Well, I had an AT-AT, and an AT-AT was great. It was amazing, but it wasn't a Millennium Falcon. Okay. And even when I was like 9 or 10, there was a shop that got in a pile of the end of range Star Wars stuff, X-wings, Y-wings, B-wings. He got loads of this stuff in, and he was selling it cheap. Right. Okay. I remember us buying Y-wings for like £5 and stuff like that back then.
Dude.
So me and Lloyd script up everything, tidied the house from top to bottom, just so his mum and dad would give us a few quid. And then we'd come home with black bags full of these Star Wars ships. But the one thing he didn't have was the Millennium Falcon. Okay? So it's so hunting down Millennium Falcons has been a real pleasure for me right now. So I started with the cheap Millennium Falcon. Okay, none of this Star Wars gear is very cheap at the moment. Yeah. Okay, but the cheaper of the Millennium Falcons that you can get, okay, there's one called the Hero Series, made by Hasbro. I think it was for the Disney stores or something like that. And it's called the Hero Series, and it is this bad boy.
Oh, wow.
I remember this.
Is that the one we used for the Hoth table?
No.
No, this isn't the Hoth one, but it's the same
mate.
Same toy.
I see.
Okay. So this is, it's a toy, all right, as all of I'm about to show you are toys, okay? So this is the toy. Let me see if I can give you a shot of some of the detail of it. So detail-wise, from the top,
pretty good.
It's actually not bad.
The way you're moving it under the camera, it's like the opening credits of Red Dwarf right now.
So, you know, from the top down, I highly recommend this. This is what we used on the Hoth table, but we then went in and we repainted it. I bought this second hand, and it was still...
You say we repainted it. John.
It was more of a mixed effort.
Oh, really? Was that one a mixed effort?
It was a very mixed effort. I put the initial paint job down on it, and then both Lloyd and John...
I apologise.
Both are working in it.
I thought that was you entirely in that one.
Warren, give me one of the 28mm miniatures. I want to hold it next to a door here, just for curiosity.
So let's see. Let me see if I can get in. There's a door.
Perfect.
You'd almost think I'd planned that, didn't you?
Yeah.
And let me get Luke and put him at the door.
That's pretty much flawless.
It's not bad.
For scale, that's pretty much flawless.
It actually is really, really good scale-wise. You know, as a gaming piece, I think it's superb scale-wise. Okay.
Yeah.
It does have its flaws though. Okay. So, like I said, we used it on the Hoth table, and with a paint job, and it just comes out beautiful. It looks really, really good. I'll see if we can get a picture of it from the Hoth table brought up. This version I bought was second hand.
Yeah.
Okay. Because back when we were doing Hoth, we were still able to pick them up new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But they've now went up in price a little bit. So secondhand, these are still a bit pricey. Maybe the 40-50 quid mark I've seen these going for. The unfortunate thing about this was I think the toddler had this, bless him. I say him as a gross generalization, but bless him anyway. Because all of the stickers have been put on so ham-fisted. But that's okay.
We'll be taking those off, won't we?
Well, the plan was, I had always planned that when we got this, we were going to remove all of the stickers anyway. I can give you a prime example of how the stickers, how bad they are. You can see there around the cockpit.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Let me see if I can get the underneath. So the underneath has a reasonable amount of detail as well.
It's a bit more simple, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where this model falls down...
It does have the underslung
at the sides. Do you see here?
Yeah, pretty much blank there.
Okay, so there's a blank panel there, okay? And there's some gribblies in there, which is fine.
You can get away with
this is blank, because this was all put in via stickers.
Yeah, there's a sticker on the other side of it, I think.
However, on the other side, can you see? Yeah. So the gribblies are put in via stickers. Now, the problem is, that blankness goes almost all the way around. So the entire model lacks detail at the point where the two saucer pieces meet.
John, we require an old scale model kit.
Well, the Millennium Falcon was actually modelled out of old, I think it was Airfix bomber kits and stuff like that.
There's a road wheel for you, John.
Yeah. Well, it was was it T-34 Tiger kits and stuff like that there?
Yeah, I remember seeing bits of Panther and stuff hanging off the back of one of these models.
Yeah, so you've got some road wheels from tanks in there, I can definitely see. A couple of suspension units.
This is the cheaper end of what you could get for a 2-scale Millennium Falcon. I am absolutely perfectly fine with the scale of this.
It looks absolutely fantastic on the Hoth table, especially with the lights that were, I think...
I put the lights in. Yeah.
I wasn't going to say.
Yeah, so it doesn't come with lights. We retrofitted LEDs.
Yeah.
For what we're going to do with the going forward for Star Wars, we're not going to put lights in this because there's no point. You want it on the tabletop itself, and you don't want to be running around trying to replace batteries. Hoth was fine. It's an exhibition-y kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas this is something slightly different. So at the moment, this is what we've got for the Millennium Falcon, and as I said, scale-wise, I'm very pleased with it. However, I am potentially going to change my mind, and I'm going to see if the price is right. I'm going to try and hunt down another alternative Millennium Falcon for us to have a look at and see what it's like. It will be more expensive than this, but I have a feeling if it's of a similar size, I have a feeling that it will be all kinds of awesome to use on the tabletop. But more on that, I don't have that. Haven't got that yet.
Well, if you want to help us get it, bring your friends into backstage.
Yeah, bring your buy merch.
Buy merch.
or if you have an old one that you'd be willing to donate, feel free.
Nobody's going to donate.
No,
No, nobody's going to donate.
If I'm thinking of the one you're talking about, no one's given that
Really?
away.
No. Okay, fair enough.
So I'll have a look for it. Some other interesting stuff about Millennium Falcon while I have you on. You know it's a cargo transporter.
Yeah.
Do you know how it transports its cargo?
No.
No. Aren't they supposed to slot in here?
That's exactly what it is. There's a big, huge, massive loader of cargo, a big bit there, that just slots into this bit. And that's how it flies along, pushing the cargo.
That explains why the cockpit's out to the side.
And that explains why the cockpit is out to the side.
All right.
I always thought this was an escape pod when I was little.
Yeah.
I thought it was one of the bits from here that hadn't. I thought these were escape pods that were on there, and that this was one, but it's not. It is the cockpit, and this is where the cargo would have sat. And in the new Solo movie, okay,
Do we get to see it loaded?
the Millennium Falcon is blue. Okay.
What?
Because its original paint job was blue, and this is all sealed up. Actually, this is all now complete on the new Solo movie.
Interesting.
And do you want to know something interesting? It's not the first time we've ever seen the blue Millennium Falcon. You actually caught a glimpse of it during episode 3 when Anakin and Obi-Wan were coming into, what do you call the city? Was it Coruscant? What do you call
Coruscant.
the city?
Oh, was
city
there a
one?
YT model for it?
The Millennium Falcon in blue is actually in the background landing.
Guess who's going to YouTube to hunt this down right after
the
we're done
Millennium
filming?
Falcon in blue is actually landing there.
You mentioned
So,
that. I think I remember spotting that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, for any of you Star Wars experts out there, is there anything I've missed, or are you happy enough pretty much with the scale of this? Because I always thought the scale of this particular model toy was fine. Let me see. Oh, wrong camera. Let's try that one. Okay, so you get a feel for how it works.
I think that works
It
perfectly.
looks
Warren.
right to me.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool. So, Millennium Falcon. Easy enough, but I will try and track down that other alternative that will have all of the details till we get a look at it.
Okay.
Right. Next up, one of the boards I wanted to make is a Tatooine board.
Yes.
Okay, because we looked at the what I'm calling the Tatooine terrain from GamesMat EU, right? And I'm hoping
the
that
desert houses terrain.
I'm hoping we can get a hold of some of that, because I think a desert board is such an obvious one for us to do.
Well, we have the big sand board. We can put some gribbly bits on the side of some proper desert terrain, like what GamesMat EU have, and it can come together pretty quickly.
However, there is another iconic shape from Tatooine that I thought I'd nailed, but this is where I feel utterly deflated. Okay,
Right.
I had an eBay fail.
No.
I did.
dear.
So you had a Fleabay feel?
Yeah, I bought a sand crawler.
Oh!
So before we get started, I my trusty book. I don't have many Star Wars books, but I have this one. Okay, so this book here.
We unearthed this recently from the bottom of the Beast of War library.
Yeah. So this is my incredible cross sections, and this is kind of where I get my kind of scale kind of ideas. Now, it's important to mention that scale in Star Wars is really kind of ropey. Okay. Because we remember they're not building a war game, they're not building a simulation, they're building
A cool
movies.
story.
What looks amazing.
Yeah. So, for example, the Millennium Falcon dimensions on the outside are smaller than what can fit the dimensions on the inside.
Really?
The Millennium Falcon doesn't actually scale.
Huh.
So the movies, it's a bit like a TARDIS in that sense. The interior of the Millennium Falcon is bigger than what the exterior can actually house. Okay, but that's movie land. That
can be
movie
explained
magic,
away
so.
with clever smuggling compartments.
But there's also things like I remembered the Sandcrawler whenever I was watching A New Hope, and I thought it was absolutely huge.
Yeah.
But there are images of sandcrawlers, right? Where so this is the sandcrawler, as we all know and love. Let me bring that in.
Yep.
Okay. So I would say scale-wise, that kind of looks about right to me. But I have seen images where there are stormtroopers and stuff that were almost as big as the tracks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, don't forget, you're probably looking at Jawas on that.
Yes. So a Jawa, if you remember, a Jawa would come up to about waist height on Luke Skywalker.
3 to 3.5 feet.
Yeah, about
Yeah.
3.5 feet. Yeah.
So whenever.
About shoulder height on me.
Yeah, so they had one which was this is the Star Wars Sandcrawler from the original trilogy collection, and I managed to pick up one of these. Okay, but when it came in, I realized, ooh,
Yeah,
It's not
no,
quite right, is it?
it's not quite right at all. It's not far away, but let me get this under camera for you guys. So this is the original trilogy collection Sandcrawler. As a toy, do you know what? As a toy, it's not great, guys. I've got to say, compared to some of the toys that were built in around the 2006-2010 mark for Star Wars.
do the sides come down?
This is not great. Yeah,
It's
so in the
pretty.
sides,
It's actually pretty poor, isn't it?
it's not great. It really isn't great.
Does
You know,
the
it's,
front open, or
It's a big plastic box.
does the back open? Does the front open? No,
No.
no?
no.
All
It's
the bits that
really
are meant to open in the movie.
yeah,
don't.
and this side here doesn't open either, so it's not great.
Bit poor.
Let me show you. Have we look at it from a scale perspective?
Yeah, that's not going to work.
It's about a third too small.
I was that's my opinion as well. It kind of needs to be about 25% bigger in order for me to get that
Now,
to
isn't
work.
well, what was the other Star Wars game Fantasy Flight did?
X-Wing?
Imperial Assault.
No,
X-Wing?
X-Wing is what I'm thinking. If you set one of these up for one of your ground assault games, might look good.
Oh god, no!
No,
It would be
X-Wing's far
massive.
too small.
It
No?
would be massive. Yeah. It would
Okay.
be-
A person in
Yeah.
an X-wing is about 3 mil tall.
Okay.
yeah. This needs to be Luke Skywalker needs to be about 25% smaller.
His head basically needs to be level with the top of the track return there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in and around there, around that point. So what I want to know is, would sandcrawlers... I don't know much about the history of the actual sandcrawler as a vehicle. Were they built by the Jawas, or did the Jawas procure these things? And would they have come in different sizes? So in other words, would you have got smaller sandcrawlers and bigger sandcrawlers, or was there only one type of sandcrawler? Because the only time I've seen it in the movies was in A New Hope, and also in Episode 3, when Anakin cut up the Sand People.
Yeah.
There's
Tusken
a moment.
Raiders.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
they cut up the Tusken Raiders, I think there's a moment around that where he's standing on a ledge and there's two sandcrawlers in the distance.
Yeah.
So I know that there was more than one sandcrawler. It was it wasn't a one-off. I grew up thinking that it was just a one-off vehicle, but it wasn't a one-off. There were multiples of these. But again, over to our Star Wars experts.
It really feels like a repurposed Imperial thing.
It could be.
It's
Old tech just sold
Like
on.
when you look at like Attack of the Clones and stuff like
Yeah.
episodes 2 and 3, especially 2 and 3, with all the ground combat that's going on, and there's some vehicles in there that have some striking resemblances to them.
yeah,
So-
and there's one that I'm trying to track down actually. But again, for a future episode, we can have a look at that.
I'm just thinking, maybe with jumping franchises completely here, with a bit of conversion work, maybe we could turn it into a Dune spice crawler. Spice mine.
Be my guest. I'm sticking with Star Wars.
Happy
man.
birthday.
So yeah, it's my question is, before we go off and try and build one, because that's our only option. They do not exist in the scale that we need them. If we're going to have a sandcrawler, we're going to build one. In which case, this model or this toy is not wasted, because we can use this
as reference.
to build it up from.
Yeah, get shape templates.
But what I want to know from our Star Wars experts among you is, again, was there more of these? Was there different types of these? And may they have had smaller versions as well as bigger versions? So my sandcrawler was a bit of a letdown, but we'll see. Let me know. And then finally, Right. So when we came to build the Endor table that you guys are going to fight on later on today,
Yes.
right? We used a type of AT-AT it's not the standard Kenner style AT-AT.
Yeah.
Okay. It was a larger special edition kind of an AT-AT.
Yes.
Okay. And the reason I went with that is because we used the Kenner style AT-ATs on Hoth. Okay. But the miniatures on Hoth were slightly smaller than the miniatures that you get with the Fantasy Flight. Okay. So the Hoth table uses the Kenner style AT-ATs, and they work beautifully with the Wizards of the Coast Star Wars minis that we had.
Yeah. They all looked superb.
And it goes well to scale together. The AT-ATs are an easy and obvious buy for anybody that's getting into Legion. In fact, I would go so far as to say, if it's a bog standard AT-AT that you're after even in Legion, I would probably still go for the Kenner variety. Okay?
The Kenner do just have a nice look to them when they're on the table.
Yes, and they're smaller as well. So the one that John cut up for us and destroyed and stripped,
and had a lot of fun doing so.
Yes.
We saw you grinning at that.
It was a Legacy series AT-AT, and I think that one was a Hasbro Legacy AT-AT from 2006.
2010, it had the mark on it.
Did it have a 2010 mark on it? Right, so from 2010.
So what was this, like a little stamp on the inside from a plate you cut off?
No, it was a little stamp underneath it that I happily sanded off.
Yes. Well, as he cut through all of the electronic components in it, and that AT-AT faded into the world where AT-ATs go to spend their days hopping around fields, okay? It said to me, buy him another one and make him paint it properly.
There is another.
There is another.
Oh, God.
And guess what, John? This is your life. There is another AT-AT.
There is no escape
think
for you, John.
So this
one's actually in better nick than the one that John destroyed.
this one is practically perfect in every way. Okay.
So it's a Mary Poppins
So
AT-AT.
we are not going to destroy this one.
Nope.
This AT-AT, I want us to paint up in pristine condition. Okay, the AT-AT as you would have found it before the fall of Endor and stuff like that. Okay, this is a 2010 Hasbro Legacy Super Deluxe AT-AT. Okay,
Super deluxe.
Super Deluxe.
Okay.
And I'll show you why it's Super Deluxe. Firstly, the sheer size of it. This thing is a good 25% bigger than a Kenner AT-AT.
Yeah.
Do you have the image? I've sent you an image.
I don't know, because you've went off script, so give me a second. What image am I seeking?
I sent it to you via the Podio chat.
Okay, now you warned me there was a Podio chat coming, but you didn't tell me you had sent it, so if you give me just 2 moments here.
While he finds that, let me show you some of the details of the Super Deluxe.
This thing is so big it was almost covering up Ben there.
Yeah, so here we have... check out the interior of the cockpit on this one.
Oh, wow.
So, whereas the other one just had a couple of... The Kenner just has a couple of seats. This one has control panels, visible screens, loads of buttons, and at the back you can actually see... Let's see if we can get in there. Can you see the door?
Yep.
I hadn't seen him inside this pie yet. That is a
Isn't
very
that
good amount
stunning?
of detail.
I think that's an absolutely cracking thing. The other interesting thing about it is... we'll bring it up in a wee second. The other interesting about it is here you can see it actually has the ankle struts. Okay, this is something that you don't often see in AT-ATs, and I rarely see even on these AT-ATs because they often get broke off
Or never get put on. In the
or
first
never
place.
get put on in the first place. But it has its ankle supports. Moving on round up to here. This is where the handle for controlling the neck is, and they actually turn into little guns there. Getting a bit blurry because I'm getting out of the range of the camera here. Round the back is probably my favourite bit.
Oh, that noise.
Because in the back, oh, there you go. You have your loading bay, and in there, this will be coming out. Look at
There's
that.
a speeder.
You actually have a speeder bike in there. And unlike the ones I grew up with, this doesn't have the button on the back which causes the speeder to blow up. The speeder
Oh.
button.
Yeah.
You used to be able to
it
press
looks
a
like
bit
there's
there.
a button there, a little red one.
No, no.
Is that just a sticker?
Yeah, this one just doesn't disintegrate the way the speeder bikes.
We'll soon see to that.
They don't make them like they used to.
Yeah. So, cutting back to us. There you have it. Let me just put that to one side there, bring up a picture.
And now Ben appears again.
So if you bring up my picture,
There you go.
minus Ben.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, so there is the difference in scale between the Kenner AT-AT and the Super Deluxe Legacy AT-AT.
Yeah.
So you can see that there's quite a difference.
Well, the Kenner one is standing up as tall as it can. It's like it's on its tiptoes, and the other one's actually got some bend to its legs.
It is a good. I would say there's a good 25% difference in scale.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So, looking at my book again. Okay. Here we go. So here is the AT-AT in the book. Okay. So in the book, we're going to switch between that and the Kenner picture, Justin, for a little bit. So here you can see that you have enough for 2 decks in an AT-AT to carry up to 40 guys. Okay. So if I bring this up, the Kenner AT-AT actually is fairly spot on for 2 decks of 28, 30 millimeter miniatures.
Yep.
Yeah.
So from a scale perspective, I think it's absolutely fine for your bog standard AT-AT. Okay. Going back to this, John, you can see some of the cool interiors of the actual legs and things like that. The other thing then is scale wise is if you remember in The Empire Strikes Back, the AT-AT stood on a land speeder.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things that we checked during Hoth was what it looked like when a foot of a standard Kenner AT-AT stood on a land speeder.
Oh yes, I remember we set it up so at the beginning of the game it had already stepped on one and Luke was standing beside it.
And it's kind of perfect, and it's not too bad actually scale wise, even with this AT-AT here. So let me try and get that. Can you hold that?
Okay, I've got it by the neck.
Yeah, cradle the head.
So we get that. Let me put that there.
That's not bad.
It's definitely bigger than the one in Empire Strikes Back because its foot didn't encompass the whole.
It didn't encompass the whole thing, whereas with that,
it
encompasses.
Please don't do that to John's beautifully painted miniature.
That's okay.
It's not varnished.
Okay. Right, I'll let you put that back on. So, however, that didn't deter me from picking up one of these bad boys. Okay, because
it's really cool.
Yes, but as well as being really cool, it gave me an opportunity for us to explore a different kind of AT-AT. Okay. Because one of the things that we have seen is that there is more than one type of AT-AT. Okay, so you had the cargo transporters that we saw in Rogue One, and then in the latest Last Jedi one, you saw the ones with the more kind of gorilla hands.
Yeah. But
even before that, there was 2 other classifications of AT-AT that I think we can have a play with. One was a super heavy AT-AT. Okay.
Where was that in?
I don't know. I've seen artwork of it, but it's almost doesn't look like an AT-AT anymore. Your weak points on an AT-AT were the nape of the neck and down in the lower parts of the thing.
Yeah.
It almost has armor encompassing the whole thing.
Okay.
But there was another classification of AT-AT called the Elite AT-AT, which I think was used in one of the video games or something like that. And what it was a heavier armored version of the AT-AT that then was painted in a darker color scheme. Now it strikes me that if you're going to have heavier armor, you're going to need additional space to fit that mass.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I see what you're going for, yeah.
Okay. So if you're going to create an AT-AT that is potentially 25% heavier in its armor, you may also be adding almost 25% to its overall scale, its overall size.
Well, you'd have the increased load capacity you need to carry.
Yeah. Right, so let me put this down. So I am tempted for us to try and get a hold of one of the Kenner AT-ATs and do it in the pristine white color scheme that you would normally have seen the AT-AT in.
The white/grey/Warren and Lloyd argue on it for 3 hours.
Yes.
Color scheme.
Yes.
Why do I get the sense I'm sensing something through the force? Collectors everywhere screaming at you, going, "No, no, no!"
Another Kenner.
No, I want to get a Kenner that and paint it in the standard color scheme. Okay.
Yeah.
And the reason I want to do that is because I want to take this one and do it as the elite.
Yeah.
So it'll be a darker grey.
So we're going to take that and do that in the dark color scheme.
Yeah.
And the reason is, if you just do that in the dark color scheme and put that on the gaming table, some will get it, others won't.
Yeah.
But if you have a normal AT-AT and an elite AT-AT, well then those people that don't get it will go, well, hang on, it must be a different kind of AT-AT.
Yeah, maybe.
At least that's what I'm thinking.
Or you'll get someone coming up thinking they know everything about Star Wars, and you'll get to go, aha, but...
Well, here's the thing. Star Wars is in a weird place at the moment because the canon and stuff is being
rewritten.
Redetermined. Yeah. So, but I still don't think that stops us from having a play with it. But I would like to pass that over to you guys on the... I've been AT-ATing all the way through. AT-AT, AT-AT, whatever you want to call it. Which side or which direction can we take it? Do you reckon that the elite could be the way to go? Because I can imagine Vader getting transported around in an elite AT-AT. You can imagine. Vader's was the 501st? Was his?
I have no idea.
He did have his own
Yeah, the 501s. Yeah, whereas you can imagine Vader in the 501st being trudged around, because he ain't going to travel in no normal AT-AT.
No,
not if he gets the chance to travel in an elite AT-AT. It's I think it'd be really, really cool. Yeah. So if you have any background on the elite AT-AT, or if you want to make it up and pretend that it's real, I won't know the difference. And let me know, because so far that is the direction that I'm thinking of taking us on this. But we are absolutely open to ideas.
I feel like I'm becoming the David Attenborough of AT-ATs.
Yes.
The David Attenborough.
I'm the David Attenborough.
Nobody knows their way around the insides of an AT-AT like you, Justin.
And here we see the AT-AT in its natural habitat.
I have completely lost all my running orders, but that is my hobby for this week. I think it's lying down here.
Sorry, you can have mine, Warren, for now.
No, it's okay. I'll find it.
Okay,
yeah, I'm having fun.
For you.
I have more hunting that I'm doing, so I'm going to have some more vehicles and things like that to show you guys over the next few weeks. And please, any ideas or that you have, or any ways that we can repurpose things, rejig things,
or if they see a good place to pick one up, or send you an email.
Yeah, let us know, because I'm really, anything like that, I'm just really keen to try and see if we can recreate some really cool environments from the Star Wars series that we can play from. So I have loads and loads of ideas. I don't know how we're going to do B-Spin, but I'll ask Az how we're going to do B-Spin and see what we can do. But I'm open to all. I know there's at least a handful of you guys out there who are absolute top of the line experts on the Star Wars universe, and help me. You're my only hope.